CJOB.
Hello, welcome. 204-780-6868. If you have any opinions on about what we're just about to talk about, and I'm sure you do, we'd love to fill the show with your thoughts on the text line. Jim
Charlton Heston's voice hosting today? Is Charlton Heston?
No, Cam had his brother's bachelor party on Saturday, and he had a little too much fun.
That is one of the most pristine 5-star whiskey voices I have ever heard.
Well, there was a little bit of whiskey.
You're at that age, right, where it's 2 days.
Yeah.
Like you think Sunday will be this, but by Monday I'll not only feel better, but I'll sound better, and you do not.
Well,
now, I think you sound majestic. I think you sound old John Wayne, Charles Bronson. Arr.
You know what? It's just like start playing some Hank Williams Jr. All of a sudden the pipes are strained.
When my partner consumes
Steve Earle.
too much, she sounds like to me more the next 2 days, and I think it's beautiful.
I made the executive decision to sleep at my mom's.
You did, or somebody else in your life?
I made the executive decision.
Don't come home. Not like that.
I'm just smart, Jim. I've seen this. I've seen this dog and pony show before. I don't need to walk into it again.
Congratulations to your brother.
Yeah, we're gonna actually. He's getting married out in New Brunswick / Quebec in August. So I'll be gone.
What do you mean? Is there like a Lloydminster of New Brunswick, Quebec? Is there a border town?
Well, it's in the town is Desjardins.
Okay.
Where my soon-to-be sister-in-law's family is from, but just like 15 minutes over the border is Edmundston, New Brunswick, which is where the wedding actually is.
So you're going across the line for the wedding, then coming back to do it all over again, you did on the weekend.
You know it. Jets at Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method. 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. Yeah, when we walked in, CGOB's Kelly Moore was here too as well. And he's like, "Oh, are you feeling okay?" And I said, "Well, it's a little might have been might be self-induced."
See, in your 20s, you'd have been fine yesterday.
Oh God!
But now that you're in your 30s,
by 11 a.m.,
you
pop
need
a couple
some
aspirins,
Halls, fisherman friends.
And you know what
I look at this.
You know what I was just craving?
Who am I kidding? You need some hair of the dog. Yeah. Let me get you a drink.
I was never that guy.
Let me pour you
I could
one.
never do that.
Let me go over to the Richard Kluche bar in the corner here and pour you a little.
I could never continue on. I could never do it. I'd have to ride it out and start again. Like I could never just keep going. I was never that guy.
I was once told in my early days after college in Northern Alberta at the Crown and Anchor pub when I went to get my car the next day, they were like, the key is to not go back in. And I'm like, what does that mean? Quite often you'll go in the afternoon around 4 to get your car. And they'll be like, I'm getting mine. We should go back in. Never go back in. But I always did. It was a way better time.
Don't get yourself into trouble. 204-780-6868. Shoot us a text. This is the big news today. And it is big news.
It is
Jim.
big.
I'd say this is this is a bombshell. And I want to know what you think about this. So text the show, 204-780-6868. The Winnipeg Jets defenseman Dylan Samberg has filed for arbitration. So the arbitration hearing was always set for Wednesday, July 30th. And it looks like that they're headed right for it. The 26-year-old Jets blue liner has 216 NHL games under his belt. He can now only sign a one-year deal if it does go through arbitration, thanks to being eligible for unrestricted free agency next year. According to Sportsnet's Elliotte Friedman, the Jets are coming in with an offer of $2.5 million. This is where things are going to get contentious. While Samberg's number sits at 6. In my opinion, Jim, I think Samberg's worth to this team is a lot closer to the 6 than it is to the 2.5. That's where I sit. We'll get into that later on. I remember when we talked to AI, we asked AI what Samberg was worth too.
Yeah, what did AI say?
It was 4 years at 4.5. So even
only 4 years.
Yeah. So I know Jim has a story about this, but I'm going to lay the groundwork here, and we'll get into how this arbitration system works, right? So here's how it goes. And I have to add this too as well, that there are plenty of ways that this can be solved before it comes down to it, right? The negotiations are going to continue all the way up until the hearing, and they might even go in between. and I'll tell you how that goes. And so at least 48 hours before the hearing, which is where we are right now, both sides exchange written briefs detailing arguments, supporting statistics, salary requests, all that in comparison with other players. These briefs are the sort of the foundations of the case of the arbitration, which will cite relevant performance data, comparative contracts, all that other stuff, pertinent evidence, right? So that's where we are right now with the 48 hours. When the briefs are exchanged, the side not initiating arbitration gets to select whether the award is for 1 or 2 years. Now, at this point right now, it doesn't matter because he's a year away from unrestricted free agency, so it has to be for 1 year. Each side then has 90 minutes to present their argument during the hearing, which will include direct cases and rebuttals and all that. That's how much time they're allocated. While there is no formal or official breaks, parties can and often do continue negotiations during a informal pause or immediately after the hearing session. So they can say, that's it. Okay, let's take a pause here, and then you can start talks again before if things don't lead to an arbitrator. So if new information, compare all this stuff goes, you can also ask a couple minutes afterwards or afterwards if you want to have a rebuttal. But the sides may continue to negotiate up until that hearing and then during informal breaks. And if settled, any tentative agreement can replace the need for a ruling. The Jets have gone down this road before. Andrew Kopp and Jacob Trouba actually did go to arbitration. And what I believe is going to be a closer comparative. I don't think this is going to get to arbitration. I think it would be a huge error if this does get to arbitration, Jim, and we can talk about that. But Brian Little signed a 5-year contract with the Jets shortly before an arbitration hearing was scheduled back in 2018. So this doesn't necessarily spell doom. And you know firsthand, Jim, that things can change here.
Well, I was just going to say, like, people are wondering now that this is said, does this have to go to arbitration? Can they do it? I don't know if things are still the same in the CBA, but years ago when I was doing the 680 CJOB Sports Show, Doug McLean joined me, former GM in the NHL and commentator analyst in the National Hockey League. And he was talking about Columbus, and we were talking at the time about if Winnipeg could, host or have an NHL team again, if it would work. And he said he was talking about the Jackets and saying we sold out every game for the first 2 years or something, and to the tune of this many millions, and we lost money. And they had a $20 million practice facility. And I said, when he was done, I said, I had a friend who played for you in that I grew up with, Jamie Pusher, in Columbus. And he was saying, and Doug cut me off immediately. He goes, "You're friends with Jamie Pusher?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you know he took me to arbitration?" And I was like, I think I did. I don't recall. And he said, yeah. He goes, "I was in New Brunswick or wherever he's on the East Coast." And he said, "I had to fly to Toronto." And his point was, Jamie Pusher is a sixth stay-at-home defenseman. That's, played 10 years, whatever. And he's like, but he said, he took me to arbitration. And he got really out of me. He goes, "I literally had to get out of my cottage, go to the airport, fly to Toronto. I was walking down the hallway to go into the meeting, and Pusher and his agent were coming the other way. And I said, 'Jamie, you're taking me to arbitration? Come over here.' And we went to the side room, and he goes, and about 10 minutes later, we came out with a contract." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." And since then, Jamie's now with the Tampa Bay organization in the front office. And I bring that, he laughs, and he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I was, my agent's like, da-da-da." We walked in, he goes, "I'll give you $1 million," or whatever it was. It was $1 million deal, and I think it went to 1.2 or something. But and then he goes, "Can you believe me?" He goes, and then we just left. I didn't even talk to the arbitrator. I had to go back on the plane, go all the way out to my cottage. But the point of the story is you can literally do it like that.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Cheveldayoff and Samberg, for everybody who's wondering if this is only going to be a 1-year deal and how much it is, there is that much time to hammer something out.
Yeah.
And then you looked into it and said, like, you can take a pause and still go into another room and see if something's agreeable.
Yeah.
But I think what's lost in all of this is that's the timeline of something to still get done. There's 48 hours, the meeting's on the 30th, which is Wednesday, and all this. I am actually shocked it's 2.5 for the Jets.
So am I.
I can understand the 6th ask. I can understand that Dylan Samberg only has 20-point season in 60 games. He was injured. I would think that, and he had 3 assists in 13 games in the playoffs. Now, in the playoffs, I don't really care if he scores points. All I want him to do is shut down people, which he does and does very well for a 26-year-old D-man. But here's the thing with Dylan, and this is the key, Cam. 26. He went back to college for 3 years. And I get it, and I was fine with it. And he wanted to try and do something historic and win 3 straight NCAA men's hockey championships. He won 2 and fell short in the final year, turned pro. But he's Tucker Poolman right now. Tucker Poolman needed to make money. People say, why did he sign a 3-year or whatever it was with the Jets or 2 years, $770,000 deal? Because I was like, he's 24, 25 years old and he's got no money. Most NHL players at 24, 25 are looking at free agency. Now, Dylan Samberg has some money, a couple mil, I believe. Mm-hmm. But at 26 years old, now I think he's going to play for another 10 years minimum.
Yeah.
Stay-at-home defenseman, solid. But we don't know that. And for a 26-year-old, he should have $6 or $7 million, given how much he plays and his usage and everything, and he doesn't. So I get he's asking for 6. I thought the Jets would counter with 3.5, 4, and they would come to an agreement about 5, 5.5, depending on the years.
Yeah.
If it's 6, 7 years, nobody's doing 7-year contracts anymore. We talked about that on Friday.
Yeah.
So if it's 6 years at 5.5, I get it. Now, the Jets are doing the right thing here. They don't overpay a lot. But man, at 2.5, I was stunned. I thought it would be 3.5, and they would hope to settle on 4.5, 5 on a 4 or 5 year deal.
I can understand. And listen, all we've heard this whole time is how Dylan Samberg wants to be a Jet long-term. He wants a long-term contract. Like, that's why everybody was anticipating him signing before Gabe Vilardi.
Yeah.
And now when it comes out and Elliotte Friedman reports that it's 2.5, I understand why he's holding out, because I don't think that that's fair. I don't. I mean, sitting from my standpoint here, you know, where he is and his age. I mean, I understand Dylan DeMello. He had 19 points last year.
But you always start low in an arbitration.
4.9.
But this is low.
Well, you can
to
see
me, this low, Cam, is relationship changing.
Well,
and I don't know.
Yeah, well, everything can always be fixed.
Everything can
always be fixed, but we got to take a break, but we'll come back.
I'm not trying to start controversy, but I would think that given how well he's played, that this would be what? Yeah, but it is arbitration. You start low. I'm hoping that's all that Dylan Samberg's taking from it.
Let's take a break. Let's come back. I want to hear from you. 204-780-6868. Are you on the side of Dylan Samberg and his agent? Are you on the side of the Winnipeg Jets front office? Who is right here? As it's getting close. It's getting up to the nitty gritty here, and they seem to be locked horns. $3.5 million in separation, according to Sportsnet's Elliotte Friedman. We'll continue to talk this. I want to hear from you. 204-780-6868. We're not going anywhere.
On 680 CJOB.
So if you're just joining us, call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline. Open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Come in for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. Hey, call that line. You'll win a $50 gift certificate to Boston Pizza on Friday. If you're just joining us, the Jets and Dylan Samberg are moving towards arbitration. The Jets are offering $2.5 million. Samberg's number sits at 6. That's reported by Sportsnet's Elliotte Friedman. Got a text message here. This one's from Dwight. He says, good afternoon. The Winnipeg Jets do a great job not overpaying. I trust the Jets' brain trust. Samberg's stock has gone up immensely. Excellent shutdown, D-man. Go Jets, go. So Dwight is, he believes in the process here for the Jets.
Here's the other thing, Cam. Sometimes injuries derail your next contract. You miss so much time. You're always Nick Ehlers. You're always out of the lineup. Can we live without you? Well, we have for a little bit. Other times it hurts the team, right? If he plays 82 games last year and scores 25 points, I don't know if this isn't more straightforward. But when he was missed, he was missed. Like, he was one of the key players out of the lineup this year, and it showed how valuable he is to this lineup when he's in it and when he's out of it. And unintentionally, he might have just bargained himself some more time by being injured.
Let's talk about that when we come back. Welcome back. Jets at Noon brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line and win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program as we're coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. If you're just joining us, Dylan Samberg and the Winnipeg Jets are poised to enter arbitration. Certainly doesn't mean they will get to arbitration. There's lots of time all the way up to the hearing, and they can even take pauses during, informal pauses, quote unquote, during the hearing to get something done. So this does not guarantee by any stretch of the imagination that arbitration will happen. But according to Sportsnet's Elliotte Friedman, the Jets and Samberg are $3.5 million apart. Samberg's coming in at $6 million. As his ask, the Jets are coming in with a $2.5 million offer. 204-780-6868, 204-780-6868. Download the Jets at Noon podcast free now on Apple, Spotify, face-to-face on YouTube, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts, with plenty of memorable Jets talk and episodes and special content exclusively found there. So you can take Jets at Noon wherever you go, whenever you want. So, asked you to get your thoughts, and I want your thoughts. We want your thoughts, not just me. Go ahead.
Steve on X just replied to us and said, zero concern Samberg gets to arbitration.
Yeah, I would say that that's the most likely scenario here. If this goes to arbitration, I would say that is, I'd say it's unlikely. But this is a far, far distance.
I have a lot of concern.
You're worried.
He will walk to free agency after this year. He's going to get a 1-year deal if it goes to arbitration. They get a ruling. The Jets can always sign him long-term after that.
Yeah.
But
how can you let that happen?
Well,
honestly,
you can let it happen if you think 6 is too much. Would you pay Dylan Samberg 6 by 6 is the question. That's what he's asking for. So obviously not. You pay what you don't always give the ask. But
is he
on a 6-year deal? He wants $6 million. I don't know at 26 years old if that's not worth it. At 28, would you give him $6 million?
How are you going? Okay, here's the question. Okay, you're a team that's going for the Stanley Cup. How do you replace Dylan Samberg? Not this year, next year. Lysol Amonson's on the right side.
Probably by signing a $6 million defenseman.
Yeah, in free agency. How's that go? How does that go? I don't think that the Jets, they can't, like, listen, this draft and develop model, right? Bring him in. He's been a good soldier for this team. 2.5 is not where this is going to land. But if this ends up with Dylan DeMello money at 4.9, then just get the deal done.
Well, there's the other thing. Dylan DeMello is a top pairing guy, you can argue.
And yeah.
You're not gonna move past. I think he's asking 6 because Josh Morrissey makes a little bit more than 6.
Yeah.
But you're not Josh Morrissey.
And Dylan DeMello got close.
But Neil Pionk already makes more money than Josh Morrissey.
Dylan DeMello his contract came in June. They didn't give him a contract up until almost at July 1st. Right?
Just under 5. I would think at 26 years old, if you can get him for 4 or more years at 4.5 to 5, you better do it. And maybe that's the problem. And again, I'm focusing on this 2.5 Cam because I'm really, really surprised. But if you start at 3.5, the middle is now 5.5 probably. Yeah. I know that's not the middle, but you know what I'm saying.
There's an art to the negotiation here, I think. Right. You know what? Maybe, and again, we're not privy to the conversations. Maybe when they've been talking, it's been a lot higher than 2.5. But they know that if this eventually does go to arbitration, that, a deal like that, it could be just split down the middle, right?
I think it's fair to say. No matter who you are, you're surprised it's gotten to this point.
Do you think?
Not stunned or shocked. But I don't know anybody who covers this team or covers the game or just fans aren't surprised that it's gotten to this point.
Do you think that the number's been 2.5 this whole time? And the Jets have not been able to budge? I think that's a negotiation tool here.
I think that's the arbitration ask. You have to put something in, and you're always going to start low. I want to emphasize that. You're not going to, if you want to pay him 4.5, you're not going to start at 3.5. But I also think that, it got to this point where you had to put a number in. So they put 2.5 in. Negotiating-wise, it's not a bad. But again, if I'm Dylan Samberg, I'd be like, now I would think that Dylan Samberg knows we're not trying to pay you $2.5 million a year.
Yeah.
But we are, if we're going to go down this road, Dylan, we are going to start really low. Because if we are going to do this and we are only going to get you for 1 year, then it's going to be as low as we can get it. That's what I think the play is here. But I don't think anybody isn't surprised, at least a very little bit, that it's gotten to this point from a player who wants to be here, wants to be a part of this organization, wants to live in Winnipeg, and played as well as he has, that it's gotten to this point. But I can't help it. If you're 26 years old and you can't get $6 million a year on a long-term deal, why wouldn't you go to arbitration, take the year, and go to free agency?
Yeah.
If you're not going to, I think this is about free agency. If you're not going to pay me free agency money this year, then I'll go get it next year.
So then I don't risk it. Honestly, I don't. I don't think you're going to look back and say, man, we overpaid Dylan Samberg. I just don't see that as a scenario here. So if you're splitting $1 million here and there, I don't think that's a good. I think Dylan Samberg. Listen, both sides right now are using the leverage that they have, and this is a negotiation, right? You're both sides are losing their leverage. I think that Dylan Samberg has more. Honestly, I think the Jets need him. I think the Jets need him. Just you brought it up.
Yeah.
Going into last segment. About look at where the Jets were after he went down in the Predators.
Yeah.
I wouldn't classify it as a tailspin, but they went through the roughest period of their season without him.
And defensively.
Without a doubt. You cannot argue otherwise.
So I think it actually helped him to be injured.
Well, I agree.
Which no player will ever admit to.
Yeah.
But
And then when he came back, and of course there was the crazy schedule. They were back and forth, time zone here, East Coast, West Coast, Central. They didn't play in the same building for like a wild stretch of games. That added to it as well. But missing Dylan Samberg during that time was not a plus. It was a huge negative.
Now, the one thing Kevin Cheveldayoff does very well is he not only pays fair market value, but he looks at which contract it is. Like, this is your first one. This is your next one. This is your bridge deal. This is your long term. Nobody's going to argue the bargains he's gotten, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would you pay Dylan Samberg on let's just do 4 years. Say, hey, we'll buy 3 years of free agency. You'll be 30. What would you pay him?
I think, you know what? It was AI came out and it said 4 years at 4.5. I think that's what I would do.
If it's 4 years, I'll give you 4.5. If it's 5 years, I'll give you 5.
Yeah.
If it's 7 years, I'm skipping year 6.
If it's 4 years,
I'll give you $6 million.
If it's 4 years, you're a UFA right in the middle of your prime at 30. That's when you're going to cash in.
Well, that's why I say I'm not even going to touch 6. I'm not going to go up $500,000 per year if you go per year. I will say if you want a 4-year deal, it's 4.5. If you want a 5-year deal, it's 5. If you want 7, I will go 6.
Yeah, I think 6 is too high. Now that I'm thinking more about it.
It is too high for a 20-point player.
Yeah, 6 is too high.
6 is too high.
Yeah, it is.
So somewhere in between 4.5 and 5 is where I think this comes in on a 5 or 6 year deal.
Let's squeeze some text messages in. Gary texts the show and says, looks to me like Samberg wants to go to arbitration and hit free agency at the end of next season. This texter says, I really, really hope the relationship with Dylan Samberg and the Winnipeg Jets organization doesn't sour because of this low ball. Imagine him leaving next year in free agency. He's worth $6 million. Well,
I don't know if he's worth 6. If he can get to 40 points, then I'll say 6.
Yeah.
But do I think he won't get to He had 20 points in 62 games. If you add 20 more games to that, I think he gets 25 to 30.
Like, now that I really think of, I think he's worth 4.5 to 5. I think he's in between. He's somewhere there.
I think he's 4.5 to 5 on a 5 to 6 year deal.
Yeah.
And if it's 6 years, I'll give you 5.
Yeah.
Here's $30 million.
Yeah. But if it's 4 years,
but then you're
4.5.
32 years old, right? That's what he's looking at. This is the thing we always have to look at. 26 years old, then you're 32. You're not getting a huge deal at 32 years old. You'll get a huge deal when you're 27 next year.
Alan Texas shows says, hi guys, Pionk signed 6 by $7 million. Samberg has to be closer to 6, don't you think?
Actually, Pionk is old, right? How old is Pionk?
No, Pionk he puts points up. I mean, that's
when he's on the second power play and he puts up points.
Yeah, I mean,
he put up a ton of points last year.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the difference here, guys. I mean, this is like offense pays.
I should have said that. Like, Pionk will get paid, but Pionk has the points is what I meant.
Yeah.
Samberg does.
Pionk is, you get paid by points. Yeah, I mean, as a guy that's a more stay-at-home defenseman, rock solid defensively, there is definite value there. But the money is in putting the puck in the net. That's why Kyle Connor is going to be the highest paid player on this team.
I think it's all fair to say that. Like, if he gets 40 points in a season, we'll be surprised.
Yeah.
I think he's got 30 points in him. 28 to 33 points per year and maybe averaging 30. Now, here's the thing. Is he not Jacob Slavin?
That's what he's been compared to that.
So Jacob Slavin's 31 and he's got 5 years left at 6.395. But he's not Jacob Slavin yet.
Not yet.
But there's a lot of people that think going forward over the next 6 to 7 years, he's Jacob Slavin. Jacob Slavin's currently at 6.3 million. He's 31 years old.
Yeah.
So that's the Jets saying, right? You're not 31.
This is going to be a 4-year deal, Jim, I think. I think this is going to come in at 4. It's going to come by 4 years.
It's going to come in at 1 or 4 to 5.
Yeah. Kim says, hey, guys, I think the 2.5 is insulting. We had better get this done before arbitration. I cannot imagine losing Samberg. Mike in Manitoba says, now is not the time for the Jets to be stingy. Where are they going to find a player like him for that cheap? Nowhere. Billy from St. James says, I'm not sure the Jets/GMs have analytical models for player value. They do. I can tell you that right now, Billy. They have They spend a lot of money on analytics. How will Chevy's approach affect KFC's negotiation?
And if you want to look at analytical models, look at Evan Bouchard's analytical model, and he just got $11 million because he puts up a ton of points.
Yeah.
Analytically, I shouldn't say this analytically, but eyeball, he's so bad defensively that I would assume his analytics aren't good.
Yeah, he's got huge lapses in the defensive game. That's why
I will never forget Evan Bouchard in that Kings series when King got the puck on the wall and he just skated backwards into his own goalie and allowed the guy to skate right at him and make a pass, and they buried it.
Sandy says, I'm on the side of Samberg. He gives the Jets his all. He's a really good player and sacrifices his body blocking shots. I think 2.5 is insulting. That one from Sandy. JP says, guys, as much as I love Elliotte Friedman, why does he have to leak this information? I don't think he leaks anything.
Why don't you want it leaked? Would you rather 3 days from now we hear, the Jets sign him to an arbitrator, gives him 1 year, 3.85?
Elliotte got a text message about this. I don't know who sent it to him, but he got a text message. And it's his job to put it out.
This is public knowledge. If you can go to what the numbers are when the arbitration case is filed. Mm-hmm. You have to put in numbers, I think, 48 hours before the meeting, I believe. Again, this is the old CBA.
This is when these what's the referred to?
You have to put in the ask for both sides.
The briefs, the hearing, yes, the exchange written briefs detailing the arguments. Yeah.
So he's just doing his work of finding it out and letting us know. If you're, I don't know if the public can.
Yeah. All it does is create. Continue on. JP says all it does is create animosity amongst fans. He did a similar thing with the Ehlers. This is a business after all. Let's keep these meetings and negotiations behind closed doors. JP, I think you're in the minority in that one.
Andrew Kopp went to arbitration twice and stayed with the Jets until he didn't.
He wanted to resign.
He did want to resign here. They, I think rightfully, didn't want to pay him what Detroit paid him.
Ron says, I'm disappointed. I believe Samberg is worth minimum the same amount as DeMello. DeMello's at 4.9 and a bit more than about 4.5, at least long term, probably 5.25 with the salary cap thinking ahead. Chevy's worried about the next Connor, Adam, and Cole 2026
he has
contracts.
To.
Yeah.
He can't just worry about this year. He's got to worry about the next 3.
How many teams have been saddled with horrible contracts?
I'll tell you what he's worried about. He's worried about Josh Morrissey as well in 2 more years.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Randy says Jets are way off base. Samberg checks off all the boxes as a player and a positive influence in the dressing room. Never mind how he's contributed to Pionk's resurgence. 6 years, $6 million should be a slam dunk. This texter says Jets offer is an insult to Samberg. He's exactly what we need on defense. Pay him $6 million.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Say he does 6 by 6, and next year he has 18 points. Are you happy Dylan Samberg's making $6 million?
That's why I think 6 is too much. You're paid to score. That's where the value is. The real true money in the National Hockey League is where, Jim Toth?
Goals and points.
It's in goals and points. Now, goaltenders are separate, right? Goaltenders are a different breed. But listen, there's a vast discrepancy between the elite. Listen, Kyle Connor's making 8.5. Shesterkin at 11.5 is an outlier here. Right. So, and Bobrovsky, when Bobrovsky got his contract, it was with Florida. It's worked out for them, obviously.
You're right. The Shesterkin deal, he's a top 3 goalie in the National Hockey League and will be going forward.
Yeah.
I just don't think you can pay your goalie that much.
Correct.
You're going to handcuff your stay-at-home defenseman contract you need.
So what is Dylan Samberg's value? He has a lot of value to this team. But is it Neil Pionk's money? Neil Pionk puts points on the board. He scores. Yeah. Right, he provides that. That's what that's his side of it, right?
That's why I'm asking you this: is he going to score 40 points?
I don't think so.
And we got to ask everybody out there. Neil Pionk, the last couple of years, has had 39 points in 69 games, 33 points in 82 games, 33 points in 82 games, 34 points in 77 games, 32 points in 54 games, 45 points. He's a average 30 plus point defenseman per year.
Yeah.
Dylan Samberg has 1 at 20.
Dylan DeMello, going into his contract year, he had 31 points, 28 assists. And I remember he was on the show with us. He was kind of laughing it off. It's like, yeah, I got lucky a couple of those.
I lit it up this year.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't expect, like he said, like things worked out.
This year.
Well, that's right. But listen, Dylan DeMello signed a 4-year, $4.9 million contract.
But he's a top pairing guy.
Correct.
Not saying that Dylan Samberg can't be. I'm just saying that he's never going to be Josh Morrissey.
Listen, the context.
He's never going to put up 60, 70 points.
The context is different. But I would be willing, just to make sure you keep Dylan Samberg, I'd be willing to give him 5. 6, I think, is a little bit too high.
I give him 5 out of 6.
But I wouldn't be willing to lose him off of $1 million. I mean, this is where this all comes into. Let's take a break. Let's come back. Hey, we'll give away that VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method. Miss your chance. Get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15. Only at BP. The number one caller will be awarded a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza on Friday. We'll be right back. More of your takes when we return. Brought to you by TELUS. You deserve more choice for internet service. Tell the federal government you demand more choice by signing the petition at demandmoreinternetchoice.ca. An air quality warning is in effect for much of Manitoba, including Winnipeg, due to wildfire smoke. Today, mix of sun and clouds, smoky, chance of showers, high of 25. Tonight, widespread smoke, low 12. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, smoke, high 23. And then Wednesday, sunny and 25. It's 22 right now at 680 CJOB.
Jets at noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
So here's our winning text message. This one goes to Alan. Alan says, afternoon, excellent show every day. I might not agree with you both, but still excellent views. Thanks, Alan. What is wrong with the Jets organization on the Dylan Samberg contract? He's a top defenseman that this club cannot lose. If it happens, there are other teams that will pay him his dollar amount and have a solid man in the back end. He is a better overall defender than Pionk. I agree with that too, Alan. Get the job done. That one from Alan.
Look, I don't think that the Jets don't know what they have in Dylan Samberg just because the ask is 2.5. I don't. You start low. But Grant, a loyal listener on X, points out, I also agree Samberg should be paid closer to $6 million. But if we look at it momentarily, he made
Monetarily.
Momentarily. Yeah. We're taking more than a moment to look at it. Monetarily, he made $1.4 million last year. Jets are offering a $1.1 million raise. From that angle, it's huge. That's a fair point. To go from 1.4 to $6 million, that is a massive raise. And that's what I was trying to say about contracts, right? Chevy looks at contract per contract per contract.
Yeah.
I don't think he's okay with just a $1 million raise, but I think he's got a problem with over a $4 million raise. Mm-hmm. And he wants this to come in somewhere in the 4.5. I don't think he wants to go to 5, but I would give him 5 if he signed 6 years or 5 years.
Last text show says, hi, guys. I'm a big Samberg fan. We'll squeeze in a few more text messages here. If you look at his plus minus, it's rose every year to plus 34 this past year. The more ice and PP time he gets, the more points he will get. I'm in for 4 or 5 years at $5 million. What's the replacement like him going to cost? Yeah, that's the whole thing to me. I mean, it's just you're not going to be able to replace him. And the Jets need Dylan Samberg, as far as I'm concerned. I think they know that, too, as well.
Yeah, I think they're going to find a place.
This is going to come together. This is going to come together.
I'll get real scared if an arbitrator decides on a 1-year deal, because then you're looking at free agency for him next year. Yeah. And I think Dylan Samberg's sitting there going, I'm going to get $6 million this year, or I'm going to get it next year.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey Forche, for producing the show. That's it for me. I'll be back same time tomorrow. Tim Stapleton's going to be with us tomorrow. See ya.